AEW. Not a lot. Just enough to remind me why I don't watch it. Oh, this is already funny. Just the headline. The list of moves and actions that are now banned from AEW or need to be approved by the company.
Maybe that's why Nash is pissed off, because he went for Brock and Austin and not try to duplicate him.
Well, it'd be easier to duplicate him. You only have to learn 5 moves.
Like you said, and we've all been saying, Tony Khan, you need a hierarchy, and he gets one, and then we make fun of it.
Because he's sitting back there talking about the Brock match, and it's finally we had a wrestling match. Finally, we got 2 guys telling a story. They weren't outside in the ring the whole time. One of them
was he not watching the same match as we were?
Yeah, those games, man, I would say, like, for me, like, the best ones, I would say, are, like, the ones where they try to get a certain, like, time.
This is my entire IT team right here on screen. Everybody. Going. There we go. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of WrestleChat right here on the Nation Network. There are far and few between, but special occasions and times where I really feel like I want to kind of touch base again with the audience and also with the world of professional wrestling. And this is one of those times. So a lot to cover and not a lot of time. Got to keep this to an hour. So it's going to be pretty quick. The last segment, I'm going to open it up to anyone that wants to jump on, but don't take it personally if we go through you very quickly, simply because it's a time thing that we're working with right now. With that in mind, I don't want to waste any more time. I'm going to bring on my sidekick, my partner in crime, the one, the only, J-Rocks. Say hello, Jay.
Hello, Jay.
And it is time for some wrestling talk here. Like I said, we got to bounce through this kind of quickly, but let's start off. When we're going to go, I guess, chronological order. So TNA Impact from this past week. And I'm mentioning it this way only because when we get to Raw, I'm going to mention the fact that life is too short at this point in time that I'm going to sit through 3 hours of wrestling. I find myself sitting through a lot of TNA. Right. I don't intend to. I figure I'm going to fast forward it. But then, yeah, you hear Charlie Dempsey against Jonathan Gresham, and the first thought is, okay, whatever. What a fucking match. What a fucking match. And let me tell you something right now. This whole WWE TNA thing, a lot of people think WWE is getting the benefit of this because they're getting a Joe Hendry, they're getting Grace, and they are. Charlie Dempsey could never look that good in the NXT.
No, and that's a shame because, I mean, for the simple fact, one, he's Regal's son. I mean, you expect him to be able to do the technical bullshit. And then to put him up against Gresham, yeah, that I caught clips of that. Didn't get to see the whole thing, but the clips I saw, fantastic.
That was a really good match. I mean, I wouldn't be able, it didn't do enough to get to that level of Mike Bailey going up against Josh Alexander, but it was one of those matches where I'm like, this is a legit, just you can't not watch it match. It was so good. I wanted to hit fast forward, and I'm like, I'm not fast forwarding through this. This is good shit. And believe me, I fast forwarded through 3 hours of Raw without too much trouble. And part of the reason, and I've mentioned this in the past, is I watch Raw on YouTube the next day in little 5-minute increments of just the highlights. And what I'm learning is as I watch the full episode back and fast forward, well, I've already seen this. The only thing I didn't get to see was Uncle Howdy's entrance, so I watched that. Nothing out of the ordinary there.
Right.
But I saw everything else. I'm like, why am I paying for cable at this point? I'm being serious because I mean that's one of the few things that I watch is Raw and stuff on there, and they're leaving anyway to go to Netflix. I'm certainly not doing that. So yeah, I mean, but we'll get to Raw separately. So you haven't seen the match; you've seen parts of it. I assure you want to watch the match.
Highlights. Yeah, I will. I'll go back and watch it. Yeah.
Very, very freaking good match. Jonathan Gresham, I am really disappointed with TNA. They've had him over a year now, and done nothing with him. The good news is they got out of that stupid gimmick they've been using on him for the last month or so, where he's an actual octopus and he's putting black ink into people's faces and shit. Stupid. He's a great fucking wrestler. Proved it this past week. Let him do what he does. As they like to say nowadays, let him cook.
Right. And Dempsey Woods is a phenomenal opponent for him, too. I mean, both.
But again, you'd never have known he was that good anywhere on NXT because that match couldn't happen on NXT.
That's because they don't have anybody that technical other than Dempsey on NXT.
Could be, but even if all right, so they could borrow Gresham.
Yeah,
do you think they're going to have that match in the NXT arena?
I could actually tell you what, I can see them doing that on one of the first two shows of the new CW era.
That'd be great.
Since they'll be on the road.
Do what they did.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But the thing is, their crowd is sports entertainment.
Right, but for those first two shows, they'll be out. They won't be in the NXT arena. First, they'll be in Chicago for the first show, and they'll be in St. Louis for the second show. So you're going to be in front of actual huge audiences. Let them go at one of those places for the Heritage Cup. Talk about a technical match.
I do hate the Heritage Cup, I'm going to be honest.
I know, but it sets the groundwork for let them do a technical-based match.
Okay, well, we'll see what happens. I'd be surprised to see it only because, again, they're going to be in front of different audiences, but they're in front of WWE audiences, and the majority of them are more into the entertainment than the wrestling. Just a fact.
Yeah. That's why you got to put that stuff out there so they get used to it again and get acquainted with it and find out, hey, that's some good shit.
I don't know if they'd have the patience to sit through it, is my point. I mean, I think they're looking for the Uncle Howdy kind of stuff, and I think they're looking for the Randy Orton and the big names and the over-the-top personalities and stuff. And I don't think they give a shit or understand, for the most part, how valuable a technical wrestling match like that is and should be a part of every night. One of the things that made Nitro stand out when they started taking over the lead and held it for so many weeks was the fact that they had a buffet. You didn't have to have steak. There was also meatballs, and there was also chicken.
They stole that premise from ECW.
Pretty much,
hardcore, but then you had, you had your
job with it though.
Benoit, right?
You
but what I'm saying is, they weren't the only ones.
You had your cruiserweights, no doubt about it. You had your heavyweights. Yeah. You had your over the top. You had your wrestling match, Regal. I mean, you had a great mesh of all. I mean, even the Kevin Sullivan Benoit matches were phenomenal, but totally different from everything else on the card.
Because I've actually went back and started watching all the old ECW shows from back then on Peacock, so I can see those matches again. And I just watched one with Kevin Sullivan and Benoit on there.
Yep. All right, moving along here. Triple threat match for the Ultimate X opportunity. We had Gujar, Vital, and Laredo Kid. I did fast forward that one because I just didn't have a dog in the fight. So I can't give a fair analysis of that one. Seeing Jordan Grace get into a back and forth with Ash by Elegance. Can't stand the name. I don't know. I feel like we've been there, done that already, and I just don't feel any chemistry between the two.
That's all right. Jordan Grace is biding her time. As soon as her contract's up, she's going to WWE, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, no doubt. By the way, it was announced that Nick Nemeth wasn't supposed to win the world title at the pay-per-view.
Yeah, I did hear that.
And I'm like, you guys out of your fucking minds, man. Why'd you bother signing him for?
Right.
Let's see. What else did we see? Matt Cardona was not cleared to wrestle, so instead he brought out Khan and Fulton to take over in the tag team match along with the Bride of Frankenstein there. Stephanie DeLander. It was what it was. I mean, look, not for nothing. Yeah. PCO, God bless him, but you're getting too old for the kind of shit you're doing to yourself.
No shit. He's our age, if not a little bit older.
I'm saying, man, I just cringe every time I see him take these bumps.
Yeah.
But then I'm okay because he had Zaya Brookside in his corner, and I can look at her all day long. I love me some Zaya. She is a pretty girl. What else did we have here? Rosemary. They did a good job, by the way. I think it was like a 50-50 split with the women and men wrestling on this event. Women got plenty of time.
That's what I noticed, yeah.
Yep. Was it Rosemary going up against who? Where's the marquee? Their website kind of wacky that way they post their results. Was Alicia, right? Yeah. It was Alicia. And I'm so happy for Alicia Edwards finally getting some little run with a title or something. I mean, she's not the world's greatest in-ring performer or anything, but she's paid her dues in that company, and she's been around a minute. And she's very good on a microphone and her facials and all that kind of stuff. She looks like she could be a mean girl if you wanted to. And I just think she's cute as fuck. So I'm glad she's getting an opportunity with the tag team belts for a little while. But Rosemary's always one of my favorites on that roster. She can make anything good.
And she's been through a lot of shit in her career and her life. So I'm always happy to see her get a little bit of a push.
Indeed. And then we have... Oh, wait a minute. Am I jumping ahead? Hold on. Kazarian did what? What did Kazarian do? He was in the triple threat, the main event. There we go. Also for Ultimate X. This is somebody who's going to be competing in Ultimate X in that high wire crazy shit to get the X Division title, right? Here are your competitors. Kazarian, maybe. Kushida, natural fit. Hammerstone. Which one of these things is not like the other?
See, Kazarian did it back in the day, so I mean, I can see him.
He did it a year ago.
Well, that's what I'm saying, but he was always known to be part of the X Division back in the early days, so I can see him. But Hammerstone, can he even? Is he light enough to even get up?
Well, I guess we're gonna find out because motherfucker got put over,
right?
And I'm like, you guys just don't know what to do with this boy, do you? First, you bury him when you shouldn't be. Now you're pushing him where you shouldn't be. What the fuck? Somebody called him more back in. Oh wait, he's in Canada booking over there now.
Yep. I was gonna say that's what happens when you fire your head booker who fucking knows what the hell to do. So,
by the way, if anyone has not seen the interview with Scott D'Amore and CVV, you've got to watch it. Gotta watch it.
Actually, I got it saved to watch. I've been meaning to get to it. So
yeah, no, it was another good one. I mean, CVV is just gold at this point.
Yeah.
Funny thing is, somebody on a different program, and I wish I could remember who it was and what program it was, but both of those have slipped my mind. But it was a prominent personality, and I believe current wrestling. And the question was, it might have been Cody Rhodes on his what do you want to talk about? But don't quote me. Anyway, whoever it was asked the question of his guest, what are the top 5, your Mount Rushmore of podcasts? Mm-hmm. And damned if this guy never mentioned CVV. And I'm like, how that's not number 1 out of anyone's mouth is beyond me.
Right.
Because that is the best podcast in wrestling history, much less current.
Yeah.
That boy is crushing it every fucking time with every fucking guest. All right. I'm going to do my best to stay on the comments as well, guys, but I've got like multiple screens overlapped here. So let me jump real quickly over here and say, hello, it's the Ancient Clown. It's always a party when the clown's in the house. No, J-Rox is there too. Look at that. What a coincidence. All right. There's all the highs.
Double duty.
What's that, Jay?
Doing double duty.
Double duty, triple duty. He said duty.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look at what happened on Monday Night Raw. Much better website when it comes to listing their win-losses and everything because it goes chronological and it's just the matches without a bunch of shit in between. That all said, the big news was going to be the in-ring debut of Uncle Howdy.
Yep.
But that wouldn't come till later on. So it opens up with the segment with Liv and Dom and the new Judgment Day talking all the shit in the world about the Power Twins. I wonder if they're ever going to do the little Power Twin powers activate. Some of us know that reference.
Yeah, but they're the Terror Twins, not the Power Twins.
Oh, well, shit.
I mean, they could always do the the whole horns, Terror Twin powers activate.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well,
I did like Rhea speaking Hispanic with her and Damien. That was nice.
Yeah. Don't piss off those Latinos, man. They'll come at you. So anyway, Rey Mysterio and company, the LWO, come down to the ring to get involved in something that had nothing to do with them at the moment. Some predictable back and forth between Rey and Dom. It was okay, but nothing that we couldn't imagine was going to happen. Again, the predictability of the WWE product.
Yeah.
I from the minute I see who walks out to the ring, I already know what's going to happen in the promo. And I'm almost always either 100% right or 85% right, and that's too right. I should not be able to predict it that far in advance. Why am I watching it if I already know the outcomes?
Right.
Hence, I'm not watching it. But anyway, they get into a skirmish, and Dom and company get the victory over Rey, and at the end, turn around and start beating them down. But all of a sudden, it's Power Twins. Power activate. And, the Terrors come out and do their thing, clean house, and set up Berlin. I don't see any chance of Rhea losing in Berlin.
No.
And again, that's one of those things where if I don't feel there's a shadow of a doubt, then why am I watching? But I do kind of want to just see the match.
Yeah. The only way I see them losing is if Finn gets involved, and that will push his feud on with Damien for Bad Blood. That's the only way I see it not working out in Damien and Rhea's favor.
Yeah, I don't see them losing. I'd be shocked to hell if they lose that match, which is good. Shock me. I dare you.
Right.
I've always been a Liv fan for the most part, even early on when she was the Jersey girl with just the other look about her and all that. I've always thought she was a good in-ring worker, and she's cute as a button and all that good stuff. But man, I am loving this version of her.
Oh yeah, I'll agree. I've been down on Liv for a little while because it seemed like right. No, because my girlfriend might be watching. So no. But anyways,
that was the wrong one. Might be better though.
No, I agree. This is some of the best work she has ever done. I am very impressed with her. She has taken this opportunity and has made the utmost of it. I am very happy for her, honestly.
Couldn't agree more. All right, we go to Drew McIntyre. Look, at this point in time, the promos back and forth with him and CM Punk, they're getting old, they're getting tired, they're getting repetitive, but I'll give him credit. This one felt a little bit unique in the sense that he just ripped off Punk from the minute he stepped in the ring.
Right.
The way he played to the crowd. Then he sat down with his legs crossed. Do I have your attention now? I was like, okay, I like that. I actually like that.
Right.
So as far as but other than that, everything was entirely predictable. Punk getting, the whipping. Although that part, I thought that Punk would end up getting the whipping to get even in Berlin. Whereas in this case, he actually got the upper hand with the bull whip. So, all right. Or the strap, I should say.
That's going to, you're right. The promos, they're getting old, but I have a feeling that match is going to be violent, like an old strap match should. There's going to be blood. There's going to be lacerations, and I can't wait because these two, I know both of them are going to beat the living hell out of each other, and it's going to be fantastic.
It's definitely going to be something to watch because it's been a while since I've seen a leather strap match, to be honest with you. So
last one I saw was when Punk did it over in AEW, and it was violent and bloody. And as long as it's the same here, I'm all for it. Don't give me some sissy little
All right, there's an Intercontinental title tournament underway for the number one contender. Pete Dunne goes up against The Miz and Xavier Woods. First off, they pretty much set up The Miz turn in the pre-fight interview backstage where he's like, I've been doing all the right things and getting the bad results. And I'm like, hell, that pretty much tells you where his direction's heading next. Kofi will come back from injury. They'll have a tag team return match trying to get even, and he'll turn on Kofi.
Yep.
See? Now, when it happens, and it was predicted here how many weeks in advance, now this is why I don't watch the show. Hello, I would not have predicted Pete Dunne going over, which he did. I did not watch much of the match. That was a fast forward because, again, I didn't have a dog in the fight. Right. But that said, I'm real happy for Pete Dunne. He's one of the, again, technical wrestlers. This is a guy who can fucking wrestle.
Yeah.
They need to push that more and let, at least have 2 matches a night of good wrestling with people that make it look like a sport.
Yeah. I mean, you've got Pete Dunne, you got Chad Gable, you've got a few of them on the main roster that can do that. Let them fucking do that.
Let them remind everyone that doesn't remember what it's supposed to look like.
Right. Not all this flippy stuff all the time.
Nope. Then finally, Uncle Howdy debuts in ring against Chad Gable. Chad Gable could have a great match with anybody and anything for that matter. And I gotta say, for Bo, man, he has done such a good job. I mean, his in-ring, I always, when they first came in, when Bray and he first came in to FCW at the time,
right,
before it was even NXT.
Yep.
And at that time, I didn't realize they were brothers. And part of the reason is that there was no resemblance, really. When you looked at the two of them, you didn't see it. Now that he's grown out the beard and all that, and he's put on a little bit of weight, it's like when he did a promo yesterday prior to the show or the match without the mask on. I thought at first, when I first glanced at it, I thought they were showing an old Bray Wyatt clip.
Right.
And I was like, oh, fuck, that's Bo.
Yeah.
I mean, now they look identical damn near. It's amazing what the facial hair does.
Yeah. And the fact that Bo can carry that same cadence in his voice now like Bray did. And he's choking.
Something went down the wrong pipe.
That's what she said.
That's what she said. All right, I think it's almost back there. Yeah, anyways, in-ring work was looking really good. Like at one point he was throwing some knees into Gable while he was holding them upright and he was driving it. And I said, man, those look good. They're sharp and he's got a little pop to it and all that. Coming off the ropes, he was just, for a guy who's been out for a number of years, had no intention of coming back. He wasn't planning on a career. He was done.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, man, I appreciate everything he's doing and I get why he's doing it. But at the end of the match, when he's kind of like kneeling over Chad and he does the whole, motion up.
Right.
I choked up quick and didn't even see it coming.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm like, what better way is there? Because there's going to be these idiots out there saying, oh, he's just making a living off his dead brother's name. You just don't get it. You just don't get it. That man was done with wrestling. This was not a plan of his. This is him finishing his brother's story.
Yep.
And what a job he did. The fact that he's using so many of Bray's moves, from the dancing to the, reverse move in the corner where you're looking backwards. I didn't notice him do the crawl. I don't know if he's got that in his repertoire yet.
I don't know. He just bent over backwards. I don't think he can get down like Bray could with the crawl. So honestly,
I don't know that he can't. Maybe he hasn't done it yet.
Yeah.
Maybe you got to save something for Berlin,
But I will say this: Chad Gable sold that Sister Abigail like a
better than I've ever seen.
Champ.
Better than I've ever seen.
He stood on his head and then fell over. I was like, I popped big time for that because I appreciate somebody who sells moves like that. It's been a long time since somebody would take a move and make you look like they died.
Yeah, he definitely took it. As a matter of fact, there's one point at the end where Bo was kind of like whispering something to him, which is probably a thank you for this or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then the referee got right in there too. All three of them were like within 3 or 4 inches of each other. And I'm like, what the fuck is all this about? Does the referee actually think he's dead?
That's what I'm saying. He stood on his head, and I'm trying to think, when was the last time I saw somebody stand on their head from taking a move? I can't even remember, but that shit, that always pops.
Well, at least not on purpose.
Well, yeah.
I mean, you can go to
That's
AEW
Chad-
and watch that shit anytime you want. That's only because they fuck
Yeah, but
up.
then they're out. Yeah, but then they're out for 5-6 months. But,
by the way, we forgot on
no.
TNA. It wasn't listed in their recap for some reason, but the Hardy Boys were in the main event that night.
Oh,
The return
okay.
of the Hardy Boys. So, yeah, it was an okay match. I mean, predictable outcome all the way. You knew it was going to be Jeff Hardy getting the pin, and he got it. Who the fuck was it? Was this another? This was one of those mini shorts, but I think it was a CVV interview as well with Matt Hardy. And Matt was talking about one of the AEW tag teams. I don't think it was the Scissor Grind Boys. What's the other one? Scissor Grind is with Max Caster, right?
Yeah, that's the Acclaimed.
Acclaimed, yeah. So it wasn't them. What's another one of those top tag teams that would have feuded with the Hardys for a little bit?
Well, there was FTR.
No, not that I know them. More of an AEW homegrown.
Billy Gunn's sons.
No, wasn't them.
Well, then I'm
whoever
out.
it was, I can't think of it. But Matt's telling the story. It's like, yeah, at the beginning of the match, because it was CVV was talking about the Swanton and that Jeff still hits that Swanton, and Jeff and Matt rather turns around and says, yeah, it's more of a crouton now. And the crouton. He says, yeah, have you seen how he lands him now? It's like he used to be a Jeff Hardy Swanton. He would sail pretty much over the guy and barely make any contact with him, and the guy would have to sell him all that. Now he's like making them absorb his entire body weight, and he is. So as he's talking, because it's a short, they clip in the actual video of what he's talking about from AEW.
Right.
It's before the match. We're getting ready to have this match with whoever it was, and when the guys come up to me and he said, man, I'm so looking forward to this, man. We're going to be in the ring with you guys. You're the Hardys. You're legends. Going to take a Swanton. And then they show it as he's doing the interview, right? And it's like Jeff comes off the rope and he hits the hardest one. I mean, he just completely splashed on this guy. And he says, we're in the back locker room now. And he walks up to me. He goes, I don't want to take any more Swantons. Sometimes you don't want to meet your heroes, man.
Right, especially when they're so much older now.
Yep. Juan Cordero's in the house. Welcome aboard. Keith O'Toole. We're just getting ready to cover that, man. So this is how removed I've been from the world. I didn't even know about Sid until about an hour and a half ago when I was watching Raw, so I could fast forward through it. And as soon as I hit play, there's the message board up there, and I'm like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Damn. That was just incredibly hard. He's only 63. I mean, I know he's had a lot of crazy injuries and stuff like that. And the big guys like that generally don't live long. Especially if you're in a locker room in Mexico, but that's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can do this here. If it'll cooperate. Yeah, it looks like it. All right, there's a link if anybody wants to jump into the green room here. I'll bring you on. But yeah, we're going to wrap this thing up by talking about Psycho Sid. And we got a good 30 minutes. That's perfect. Psycho Sid passing away, apparently of natural causes. There was certainly nothing mentioned. I did a little checking around on the internet before we came online, and it seems like he just passed away. I don't know of any lingering health or if he had a stroke, a heart attack, anything like that. Wasn't mentioned. He's 63, so you figure it has to be something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, the odds that you go to sleep and don't wake up are slim, but that's all I've heard so far. If anyone's heard anything more, let us know now. Started his wrestling career. I thought this was interesting with Randy Savage and his brother Lanny Poffo, and then he was trained by Tojo Yamamoto, or I say Yamamoto. Can't get those Japanese names right, man. They always trip me up with the extra words and syllables and shit. Did not know that he was teaming with Austin Idol and wrestled Nick Bockwinkel and Jerry Lawler for a stint, but then he adopted the masked wrestling persona known as Lord Humongous. That I did know. I didn't know who he was because nobody did at that point in time, right?
Right.
But the Lord Humongous character, even though I was up north and didn't get to watch any of that kind of wrestling, I was getting all the magazines and I'm seeing the pictures, and I knew that the reference of Lord Humongous came from Mad Max. So I thought, yeah, it's kind of a cool thing that somebody's got the hockey mask on. Plus, I was a huge hockey fan, played goals,
right.
So totally connected with the hockey mask thing, and tried following him as best I could through the magazines. Who's bothering me now? Tucker Carlson's going to be going on live later. That's nice. That was a Continental Championship Wrestling, which, again, you had to be in that area, I guess, to be able to watch that stuff. Christmas Day in 87, he won the NWA Southern Heavyweight Championship, the Northern Division. How many divisions do you have for a title so obscure? I don't know. He turned fan favorite after rekindling a kayfabe childhood friendship with Shane Douglas. I did not know that.
Nice.
Resulting in the two forming a tag team and capturing the NWA Southeastern Tag Team Championship. There's a lot of Southeastern. Competed in New Japan Pro Wrestling, where he challenged Tatsumi Fujinami for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship under the name Vicious Warrior. Didn't know he had that name. I've heard a bunch of the other ones. But he was unable to win the title. UD then made a very brief stint in World Class Championship Wrestling, which I don't recall him being there, where he adopted one of his most notable ring names, Sid Vicious, which he took from the punk rock musician of the same name. Didn't know that. Who played bass for Sex Pistols. Not bad. From 1989 to 91, he was a member of the Skyscrapers. How do you not know the Skyscrapers? I loved that team with him and Dan Spivey. Loved them to death. Thought they were really, really legit. There's still that very famous match out there with the one jobber during a Saturday morning show that didn't job well, and they legit beat the shit out of him after the match.
Yeah.
I mean, they beat the shit out of him a little bit during the match when he wasn't selling. But then when it was over, they really went ham on him. That's Education 101 right there.
Yep.
I had totally forgot that he was a member of the Four Horsemen for a stint from 90 to 91.
Yeah, Keith O'Toole mentioned that, I believe.
Sid's association with the Horsemen became tenacious following this episode, which would have been one with the fake Sting with Barry Windham. That Clash of the Champions 12, it looks like. I do remember when Barry came out looking like Sting, and I'm like, oh, gosh, damn, you shave your hair? Part of your look, man. Oh, you have to wait a while for that to come back. Then he went to the WWE back in 1991. Only a one-year run. Boy, he does a lot of one-year runs. But you got to remember, this is a guy that didn't really care about being the man, so to speak. It's like he loved softball so much that, you know, he didn't want to miss tournaments and stuff like that. And he was sacrificed. Kind of the way that Barry Windham never really had a world title run because he wanted to be home with his family, which you got to give credit to that. I mean, that most guys in pro wrestling will tell you how they feel terrible if they missed their kids this and they weren't home for that.
Yep.
But these are guys that, oh man, I just want to be a person.
Yeah. I love doing the wrestling, but I also love this a little bit more. So
he was in the USWA. I do recall that. That's kind of when the WWE was loaning talent back and forth, like they are now with TNA.
Right.
Although at that time he wasn't with the WWE officially, so he was more of a USWA guy. But I was actually watching USWA back then because they were showing here in Florida at that time for about a year and a half, maybe 2 years. So I got to see a little bit of USWA, which I always enjoyed that very much. He and Lawler, of course, went at it. There was a guy named the Spellbinder, who I really thought would have a longer career and a bigger career. I thought he'd go into the WWE, never did. But yeah, he was an interesting talent, had a good makeup job, and his character was kind of, Spellbinder, you know, mystical.
Right.
You ever see Spellbinder in the USWA?
I've seen pictures of him, never saw him wrestle.
Yeah. He wasn't phenomenal, but he was good. I mean, yeah, it's USWA, which is kind of like a training ground. If you're good, you'll go higher.
Right.
I just thought he'd go higher. I thought he was that good, but didn't happen for whatever reason. I'm not sure. Sid was also in the UWF Blackjack Brawl in September of '94, challenging Dr. Death Steve Williams for the UWF Heavyweight Championship title. Back then, man, Dr. Death and all those guys in the UWF, but that title really felt like it meant something. Dr. Death and Gordy in particular.
Yeah.
Made that belt feel like it was legit because you knew these two guys were legit.
Right.
So if Sid's in that mix, then you just looking at it being that much more prestigious, and I don't think the UWF Championship gets the credit it deserves, especially for a smaller program. Back in the WWF in 95 to 97, hey, a 2-year run there. I guess must have been a little off for the softball. But this is probably his most memorable run in wrestling because this is when he was with Shawn Michaels and the $1 Million Corporation and all that kind of stuff. Did he win King of the Ring? No, he didn't win King of the Ring, did he? No. Tatanka defeated and interfered after the match. Sid and Tatanka continued to double team Diesel until Bam Bam came out and made the save. Yeah. I was going to say, I remember him being there, but I didn't think he won it. He was the world champion from 96 to 97, had a good run with the WWF title. And again, he's a guy you can believe would be your world heavyweight champion for real.
Right.
6'9", almost 300 plus pounds. I ain't beating him. I probably wouldn't beat Nick Nemeth either, but I feel like I got a chance.
Right. I
outweigh him. Might be the only advantage in the win column for me, but I'm just saying. I'd look at Sid and go, nah, I'm not doing this.
Here, do the poke of doom. I'll lay down. We're good.
Dude, the poke would get within 2 inches and I'm already gone. Sid fought Vader at In Your House 11 Buried Alive on October 20th in a match where the winner would face Shawn Michaels for the WWF Championship at Survivor Series, which we all know how that went.
Yep.
That was a good series. And when he lost the title, he lost it to The Undertaker at WrestleMania. Well, back to what I keep saying. If I know the outcome, why am I going to watch it? I had no fucking idea who's going to win this. The Undertaker, at this point, his streak was just beginning to catch on.
Right.
They may not have even acknowledged it as a streak yet at 13, but they probably did. I would say by then that would have been what? When did Mania? What Mania did Taker start in? Like 5? Wasn't he in Trump Plaza with Snuka?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And that would have been 4 and 5. So one of those. And now we're talking about 13. So yeah, I would think this is probably when they just started maybe mentioning the streak thing. But nonetheless, it's the world title. You got the Phenom against Psycho Sid, and I'm like, fuck, I got nothing. I had no idea who's winning this match.
Right.
And it doesn't matter who wins it. It's legit whoever wins it because legit either one of these guys could win a match if they were fighting each other. We need more of that. After that, in 98, he went to the independent circuit. Had that neck injury as well. Yeah, he sat out for a good year before doing that. Of course, he had that famously broken leg on WCW Nitro. That I believe he credits Eric Bischoff for that, right? Wasn't that Bischoff's idea that he kind of forced him to come off the second rope with that flying kick? It was either him or Russo, but I think it was Bischoff.
I think it was Bischoff too.
Russo got everybody else in the business injured.
Right. Yeah.
I also forgot that he was in the ECW when it was back in 99 for a short period of time.
Yep. Yep. It's just getting to that point before he showed up on what I've been watching. So.
And then went back to WCW from 99 to 01. So again, a little more than a year stint there. The Millennium Man and the United States Heavyweight Champion. Poor Sid had to be part of that whole repackaging, rebranding of WCW and his stupid attempt. And I believe he was the world champion when they stripped all the titles, wasn't he? I feel like he was. Because I remember him saying, I'm not giving it up. I'm not giving it up.
I would have to say that's probably correct, but I'd have to go back and look just to make sure.
Well, let me see if it's not here. He lost to Goldberg in an I Quit match at Mayhem, effectively ending their feud and Sid's streak. Oh, wait, hold on. Shit, I think I just had it and lost it. Heavyweight Championship. American Bash at 99. They thought he was going to be joining Savage or Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, but it wasn't him. That would have been interesting, wouldn't it? Not as successful as Hogan for sure, but
Yeah.
upon his return, he took the nickname of Millennium Man and faced the WCW champion Kevin Nash on July 5th. Sid was dubbed as undefeated, having a winning streak, much like Goldberg's had previously, although the majority of this streak was due to Sid coming to the ring and power bombing wrestlers already in a match or immediately following their match and defeating them. Gotta love it. World champion in 2000. The Millennium Man gimmick ran dry. No shit. Couldn't have told you that. Wonder who came up with that idea. Sid became a face and started to contend for the WCW Heavyweight Championship. He was placed in a match at Sold Out in January to fill the suddenly vacant title after Bret Hart was forced to relinquish it due to concussion. I got an issue at that point in time. I couldn't tell you anything about who was champion. Where the product was so unwatchable. Sid would lose the match to Benoit, who would then end up winning the title and leaving the next day.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you guys doing that you don't know the man's leaving tomorrow while you put the belt on him? Exactly what Vince wouldn't allow to happen is what you did. Now you know why.
Mm-hmm.
The title was again vacated as Benoit left for the WE the next day. I'll never get that. The on-screen explanation was that Sid's foot was under the rope during his submission loss, which is very likely. His legs were like 7 feet long each. The next week, Sid was presented with a challenge by Nash, who became commissioner of WCW. Good Lord, it gets worse.
Yep.
If he could beat Don and Ron Harris in a match on Monday Nitro that night, he would face Nash for the championship that night.
Actually, I remember watching that match.
You could sit through this shit?
Didn't say I was set through everything, but I did watch that Sid Vicious against the Harris brothers, yes.
Well, there couldn't have been any more shit than that. It had to be the top of the shit. 2 nights later on Thunder, Nash stripped Sid of the championship. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
So you've had 4 title changes in 3 days?
Pretty much, yeah.
Why did we lose again?
Because that was back. Now that was
booking it. They couldn't have done. I mean, and meaning that he was trying to book them out of business. If he was booking it, he couldn't have done that good.
Well, I was going to say that was when Russo was in charge. So there you go.
Wow. I had no, like I said, I wasn't watching it at that point. It was so bad. Now I get it.
Yeah.
I almost feel bad making this joke, but I have to. Luckiest thing could have happened to Bret Hart is he got put out.
Yeah.
You don't want your name and legacy associated with that shit. Jeff Jarrett, thanks in part from help of returning Hogan and Uncensored, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, same old shit at this point. Injury and first retirement. That's wrestling for you. As he returned late in the year as a challenger for Scott Steiner's championship in the WCW, Sid failed to defeat Steiner in a title match at Starrcade and at Sin, the pay-per-view. These names are also terrible. The pay-per-view names are so bad. Sid faced Steiner, Jeff Jarrett, and Road Warrior Animal in a 4 corners match because you automatically assume and associate Road Warrior Animal with the World Heavyweight Championship. For the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. During the match, he suffered a near career-ending injury. WCW executive John Laurinaitis, what's up, Scratchy? Allegedly felt that UD needed to broaden his arsenal of wrestling. It was a Laurinaitis idea. Holy shit, there's someone stupider than Vince Russo. It's hard to believe. John fucking Laurinaitis. Of course it would be. That he try an aerial maneuver despite his unwillingness. UD felt it unnecessary for a wrestler his size and type to do high spots. No shit. Landing all of his weight on one foot, which kicked out with the other and severely fractured. Severely? Yeah. When it goes like
came out.
left. That was Joe Theismann level. Ouch.
Yeah.
For you kids out there, just Google it.
Yeah.
The injury put Sid out of action indefinitely, and he pondered retiring from professional wrestling for good. I had about a year left on my contract, and I was thinking back then, prior to hurting my leg, what was I going to do as far as wrapping up my career? The only thing I really wanted to do, ideally, was to go out in a big pay-per-view like a WrestleMania or something like that in a main event, leave like that, and not come back again. It would really be a retirement match. But that said, he did come back in 2002 to 2017. After WCW was bought by WWF in 2001, following surgery, Yuti faced the prospect of rehabilitation for his leg for 3 to 5 days prior to what's going on? 3 to 5 days. Oh, for at least the next year. There it goes. He was told by the doctors he'd never run again. Wow, did not know that. And Sid set a goal of being able to do so. At first, he was limited to using a cane, but that really was brutal. But through extensive effort, he was not only able to walk again, but in time during his arduous rehabilitation, he made several appearances as World Wrestling All-Stars Commissioner during 2002 Australian tour, though at the beginning of the WWA's Sydney show. Sid also filed a lawsuit with the Universal Wrestling Corporation, that's a Ted Turner holding company, for what remained of WCW's unpurchased assets, seeking redress for the injury that he sustained. The judge ultimately ruled in favor of the UWC, which I was just about to say. I don't see how they can lose that, but they didn't. After almost 3.5 years of rehab and preparation, Yuti returned to active wrestling on June 5th of 2004 with the Canadian-based Internet Wrestling Syndicate, I beg your pardon, appearing as Pierre-Carl Ouellet's, that's PCO for everybody else, mystery partner. Not a bad mystery partner. On an episode, I remember this one. I know they're going to talk about it already. On a June 25th, 2012 episode of Raw. Do you know where we're going?
Not really, but
you will. Yuti made his return to Raw as Psycho Sid in a match against Heath Slater.
Oh shit, I forgot about that.
Where he defeated Slater as a part of an ongoing celebration building up the WWE's 100th episode of Raw. Remember when Heath Slater was challenging all these veterans and all that, and they would 1 week after another come out and kick his ass?
Yeah. Jesus.
And finally, on his personal life, Yuti and his wife, Sabrina Page, I don't think any relation to Diamond Dallas, but you never know in the wrestling world, were married on December 30th of 1983 in Shelby, Tennessee.
I've been there. Nice place.
Mentioned the fact that he was on reality show Big Brother 14 and 13.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wait, no, Frank. No, not him. His son, right? Hold on. His son, Frank, was a cast member on the reality show Big Brother 14 and 18. And Gunner, his other son, who's the one that posted the announcement on Facebook, is also a wrestler. I did not know that. And their son's time of death. And their sons at the time of death, Yuti lived with his wife in Marion, Arkansas. He was a fan of softball, as we mentioned earlier. During his time off from wrestling, he briefly played softball between 97 and 99. I thought he played a lot more than that to hear the stories. In January of 11, he was arrested in Shelby County, initially pulled over and charged with not wearing a seatbelt, because you always arrest somebody for that, right? Yuti was also charged with a misdemeanor possession of marijuana, which is a joke, and driving without a license. Maybe he just left it at the house. I don't know. He was later released on a $1,000 bond, which I'm sure he had no problem picking that tab up. Sid was diagnosed with congestive heart failure. Now we're getting somewhere in 2016, and arterial fibrillation, better known as AFib, around the same time. And he was also given a pacemaker. Okay, so that kind of explains things. And wow, April of 2021, he was diagnosed with stage 4 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, which was linked to Roundup weed killer. Wow. Yeah, I've heard about the Roundup shit. Makes me glad I don't take care of my lawn. On August 26th, UD died of cancer, is what they're saying in here.
Yeah,
The
that's
first
what
thing I've heard about
Juan
it.
had said. Well, that's what Juan had said earlier in the chat.
Okay.
He had heard it was cancer. So,
and that's what they're saying here. That night, a video package paying tribute, and it was a really good package. I thought the still screen at the beginning of the episode was one of the best ones they've done. It was great pictures of him. Paying tribute to Sid on Raw, with Damian Priest paying tribute by claiming during an in-ring segment with Rhea Ripley, "We are the masters and rulers of the world." Okay, I did fast forward through their promo stuff, so too bad I missed that, because that's a nice little homage to pay right there. And we still have 8 minutes left. All right, nobody's in the green room, so let's just bounce and do a couple of quick comments here. I got to scroll back and see what I've been missing.
well, I will say this to D-Train. You think I look more and more like Bam Bam every week? Tell you what, if I can find somebody who does body painting, I will get the flames painted on my head for Halloween. How about that?
D-Train is in the house.
I'd pay to watch it.
I might videotape it. Might put it on the channel.
Live stream it. We'll do it on the channel.
Oh, okay.
You need Lisa to hold the camera up, and we'll just live stream it.
There you go. I'll have to. All right. There you go, D-Train. That's my mission between now and Halloween. Let's see what I can do.
All right, Juan. Yes, you're right. That's exactly what they're now saying, and that's the first I've heard of it too. Because like looking through USA Today and all the major publications, I skimmed through all of them, and nobody mentioned cause of death. I figured it had to be something of natural causes for the WWE to make it such a prominent feature of the show.
Right.
You know, they're all skittish about anything that could be related to drug overdoses or anything like that. Sid had the look of the perfect wrestler back in. Oh, there's no doubt about it, man. The guy was just huge and chiseled. I mean, he was the total package. You know, the one that reminds me a little bit of him, and in some ways even better, because you know they try to get him to come up with some aerial maneuvers or something to freshen it up or whatever. The guy who can already do all that shit is Moose.
Yeah.
He's another natural monster, great body, and can fucking move.
Yep.
I remember a USWA episode where Lawler was supposed to defend the heavyweight title against Sid, but the King never showed up.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, that's kind of like USWA 101, I think. Judd's in the house. Diesel and Bam Bam against Sid and Tatanka at King of the Ring 95. Oh, I totally forgot about those alliances even. Sid and Tatanka was part of Money Inc., right?
Yeah.
And I don't even remember Diesel and Bam Bam being a thing. You can book it. I don't know if I'll be there. Start without me. I'm going to tag into the broom. All right, Clown, if you can skip across the border, then I'll do it.
We'll just hold it up in Canada.
I can't get across the border.
Oh.
I wouldn't go across the border, man. Justin Trudeau's a sick motherfucker. Man, what the hell? I really need to take notes of what I'm watching these videos. Apparently, Justin Trudeau's mother, and Clown, I'm sure you can fill me all in on this shit. Apparently, his mother is a hoe. No, dude. I mean, really. Those you don't know, Justin Trudeau is the Prime Minister of Canada, basically our president. Yeah, and he's a nut job. I mean, this guy is such a commie. It's not funny. What he's done to Canada is embarrassing. It's sad, and I think they have a much harder time getting him out the door than we'll have getting ours out the door. Especially because they're not allowed to be armed. But I am telling you right now, this guy's done some crazy fucking shit. And the story is his mom ran a train on, oh gosh damn, I know it was the Rolling Stones. Now, where did I hear this story?
And we're not talking
But
about a
Mick Jagger
train,
said,
huh?
Mick Jagger said, I'm not doing that, man. That's a dirty girl. You know you a hoe. Mick Jagger says no.
Right.
I wish I could remember who the hell had the quote. That'd be somebody in Canada, I would think. I was like, holy shit. So who knows? I mean, Justin could be the product of the Rolling Stones, maybe several of them mixed together, which would explain a lot.
Right. Oh, I guess I was mistaken. It's not Bam Bam. It's One Man Gang. So I've got the black shirt. I'll find a cutoff jean jacket. And
What
I'll get a
tattoo you
picture.
going to get?
I don't know, whatever he had on his head.
Oh, I thought it was Bam Bam too. He didn't say Bam Bam?
I don't
Maybe
know.
because you said it, it put it in my mind. When I was skimming the comments, I thought it was.
Well, Clown just said he thinks it's One Man Gang. So maybe I'll find one of each. Who knows?
Well, I'm putting you a challenge to do the Bam Bam Bigelow.
Okay.
We're going to call it the Bam Bam Challenge.
The Bam Bam.
Question for the chat and for you guys. Can you imagine Roman versus Sid and your opponent who would win? I mean, obviously, we're looking at both of them in their heyday. Well, of course, who would win is based on who's booking, and that's just the way business is.
Yeah.
But if I was statistically just to take, who won these matches, who won those matches, you're probably going to get Roman going over because Roman had a longer career on top. Sid was always the guy that got to the top, didn't stay there forever. Would go away, would come back, that kind of thing throughout his career. Whereas Roman's doing it now that it's the end of his career. So I would say probably Roman getting, but a lot goes into that too. I remember when Sid was world champion in the WWE or WWF, he was on, man. He was white hot. He was a sell. Yeah. He was a draw. He wasn't always that in his career, but he certainly was at that point in time. Roman wasn't in the beginning of his career.
No.
I mean, it took him a long time to finally cross the threshold. And it wasn't for a lack of effort on the booking committee's part.
No, I think it wasn't. You have to credit Paul Heyman for getting him over. Once Paul Heyman got him there, Roman was able to finally run with it.
Sid was the champ. Bischoff took the belt from him and said, "What's the matter? Sid can't finish your scissors." Yeah, I thought he was the champ. I when they did that whole shtick, I did watch that episode because I think they had announced that there was going to be massive changes taking place, and I was like, "All right, let's see what they got in mind." And part of me was like, "Well, if you're gonna do it, there's one thing to be said about stripping all the titles." But then I'm like, but a better way to do it is to put all the titles up for grabs in different matches. So whether it's a five-way eliminating, like a battle, the idea of deciding a title in a battle royal disgusts me. Okay. But you have a battle royal and the last two guys wrestle.
Yeah.
I can live with that. Something like that.
Always like gauntlet matches. Last two guys fight for the title then.
Something like that. I mean, you could have done those, and this way he's still the champion walking in, but you want the champion to defeat the champion. So I thought by taking the titles away, you really did value them quite a bit, and just is what it is at that point. Yeah. If Benoit won the belt and left the WWE next day, yeah.
The fuck. He showed. Yeah, he showed up there with the Radicals.
And he's leaving. It wasn't like a surprise the next morning. There was a telegram or something like that waiting for Bischoff. He's leaving. Why the fuck did you put the belt on him? I just don't get it.
Idiots.
Yep, sin and greed. I mean, they were so bad. The name tells you this show's going to suck.
Right.
There was just no creative. None. Steiner, Sid, and Nash versus Sting, Goldberg, and the return of Hogan. That's interesting. Hogan returned in the red, yellow Hulkamania, retiring the NWO black and white. Slater versus Legends feud. Yeah, I remember that too. It went on for quite a while. I think he had Sergeant Slaughter was one of them. I remember one night Cyndi Lauper was out there with Roddy Piper, kind of doing a little throwback to WrestleMania, and then later came out. I'm sure it was probably Piper that delivered, and Wendy Richter was in that too. Yeah, there it is. Not Bam Bam One Man Game, but I'm calling it the Bam Bam Challenge.
He has more colorful tattoos on top, so.
She ran with the Rolling Stones. Sounds like she ran all of the Rolling Stones except for Mick.
No, she got ran by the Rolling Stones.
Like I said, I wish I could remember who the fuck it was that made the comment.
That's some funny shit. Can't make that shit up.
Well, now you know why Justin's the way he is. Probably slept with the whole band. Again, that's what the story was. Mama Trudeau is a hoe. Doo-dah, doo-dah. Are the Hardy Boys coming back? I can see it being a one-off in the WWF or WWE. I can see it being a one-off at Mania, let's say, for the sake of argument, to give them that one big match and then put them into the Hall of Fame, or maybe have them in that Hall of Fame and come in and do a match. They shouldn't be doing more than a match. I wouldn't be. I'm not signing them on for any length, especially with Jeff's history. If we can just get to this match, we'll be doing well. But I do think his TNA run right now is going to be a major statement as to whether or not that ever happens. With the beard, it's a one-man game. Well, even then, you'd have to color the beard and everything. I say it's easier to shave it.
Oh, I won't shave the beard. Sorry.
Oh, you have to do the Bam Bam Challenge.
No, I just need the tattoos on top.
Bam Bam didn't have no beard.
Oh, for the fuck of God.
I saw you, and then you disappeared on me, man. I told you I worked my way in.
Yeah.
My fan is too loud on this laptop. You'd never be able to hear anything. What did I miss? Oh, okay.
About coming into the green room.
I got my ceiling fan on in the background. I don't think it's making as much noise. Sometimes it gets quite loud, though.
Yes, but Clown needs that extra ventilation or else.
He's in Canada, man. What heat are you dealing with? Oh, sorry.
Not talking about heat.
Never mind. Now I got you.
Clown is our own personal RVD.
Well,
plain and simple.
I never even heard what happened. We just had a vote here in Florida. Amendment 3 to allow the legalization of marijuana. And I even looked to see what ended up happening. Haven't heard a word about it. Haven't read a word about it. I don't even know if it passed or not. Can't find a fucking answer to the question. But it's time. Oh, I know what the holdup was. It was only you could recreationally use marijuana, but you couldn't grow it yourself. And the powers that be that were fighting to make it legal were definitely fighting on that, saying, wait a minute, so now you're going to force people to buy it when it's something you can grow at home. Do you force them to, you tell them that they can't grow their own carrots? You can't force them to buy it at Publix. They should be able to grow their own, which is a legitimate argument. But that's how, the people in power around here that don't want it legalized, I'm all for it. I mean, A, you're not going to stop anyone from using it. They're already using it. B, the shit they're buying either is an inferior product and not really what they're paying for, or it could be laced with, you got fentanyl and all this bullshit running around. Some people are dropping dead of it. If you really care, you legalize it. Now we're taxing it. We're drawing an income from it.
Yeah.
They're doing it anyway.
Treated just like alcohol.
Yes.
That's what they do. That's what they do here in Ohio.
And that goes to driving as well. You want to smoke, you better not drive.
Yeah. If you're over a certain amount in your system, you can be arrested for being under the influence. So
he's got his THC and dubology.
That's right.
Hashtag can't grow carrots.
I know. I just looked and saw that.
Funny farm here today. Well, just over an hour, but we did good. So condolences to Sid's family. Truly going to miss the big guy. Enjoyed his work very much. Enjoyed watching him over the years. And I'll probably go and watch some of his matches later on tonight just because.
Yeah.
Any parting words?
Yeah, I mean, he's one of those that for a lot of the time, I mean, he was never the man, but he was.
Well, he was.
Well, what I'm saying is, not
if
like
you hold the World Heavyweight Championship for the WWF or WWE, you are the man.
But what I'm saying is that he was somebody, no matter where he went, they knew him. And to me, sometimes that's more important than holding a title somewhere, honestly.
He didn't need a title, no. Definitely didn't need a title. But it was good that he had one and did good with it. All right, everybody, I want to say thank you for being here with us. Like I said, I never know when these are going to happen. It's just, I got done watching Raw, and I'd seen what happened with him, and I was like, oh, shit, that sucks. We should talk about it. And then I was thinking, well, you know what? Impact was pretty good this week. Raw was interesting enough. We got stuff to talk about. We'll talk. Or chat.
I was sitting playing Promotion Wars when you sent me the message. So
Promotion Wars. Right. By the way, before we log off, has everyone seen the trailer for the Wrestling Code?
Yes.
Thoughts?
Like it a lot.
Chat. Share with me. I feel like I'm always this guy and I'm about to be again.
Oh, Jesus.
Were they not going for ultra realism? Or am I wrong?
No, I don't think they were. They wanted the mechanics to be better and function more than having the realism look of the 2K. That's what was supposed to.
And when I say realism, I'm not talking about the character models and everything. I thought the character models weren't bad. From the little bit that you're looking at what's his name, Danger over there from the YouTube channel, and
right.
I saw Follow Bob, thought he looked pretty good. Who was the other one he had on there? Chris Danger was going up against Follow Bob and somebody else.
I don't remember.
Me either. My problem was the movements were very, and I grant you, this is early footage. It's going to get cleaned up a little bit. It might be looking better later. But one of the things they were promoting in this was that the same move struck on the same guy, but by two different individuals. So let's say super kick by Chris Danger versus super kick by whoever else. The reactions of the person receiving it, and it was the same, I think it was Falaba on both of them. Falaba, reacted differently to each one's super kick. He went down on both of them. Let me rephrase that. He fell after being hit by both of them, but he fell differently. I'm good with that, but it was so over the top selling. It was like Shawn Michaels, Hulk Hogan selling. That it
okay, I give you that.
I'm watching that going, oh, man, that's kind of hokey. I mean, look, it's first information, first release. I'm not saying that's the final product by any stretch of the imagination, but Yeah, for those of you that haven't seen it, it's not hard to find. It's all over there now. Just pull it up, look at it. Next time we do this, we can come back and cover it again and get your thoughts and opinions, or on this video right now at the bottom. You can put it in the comments section whenever you get around to watching it. Let me know what you thought of the Wrestling Code promo. If I'd have thought about it, I would have got a copy of that to show here. But I didn't think about it until just now as we were getting ready to say goodnight. I wonder if I still have, there's something I was just thinking about the other day, and I was like, I wonder if I still have that on my list here. Mm-hmm. I might have gotten rid of it. That was stupid. I should have kept it. Oh, wait, no, I found it. Hold on.
I debuted Survivor Series 1990. The very first tombstone that I give was to Coco. I get backstage. Coco gets me in the hallway. You know, somebody gives you your body, you got to be able to protect them, man. You hurt my neck. Anyway, it got to the point where, like, I'd apologized all I could apologize for, you know, and I was like, I've apologized to you as much as I know how to do. I said, if you're not going to accept that, maybe we need to go out in the lot. Oh, like, come on! It didn't deserve all. It didn't deserve all that. Now,
he folded him up like a cheap card table.
Anyway,
I was. Coco used to be.
You were going to take him in the lot and beat the shit out of him.
I would apologize.
I've seen that.
That never gets old. I apologized.
You're going to take him out, beat the shit out of
He
him.
just dropped him on his fucking head. I mean, Coco was already 5'6" when the match started.
Right?
Oh, I needed a laugh. All right, everybody. We'll be back with more of this stuff in the not too distant future. In the meantime, say goodnight, Jay.
Good night, Jay.
Good night, everybody. We'll catch you next time for more WrestleChat here on the Nation Network. So long. Actually watched a little bit of AEW, not a lot. Just enough to remind me why I don't watch it. Oh, this is already funny. Just the headline. The list of moves and actions that are now banned from AEW or need to be approved by the company.
Maybe that's why Nash is pissed off, because he went for Brock and Austin and not try to duplicate him.
Well, it'd be easier to duplicate him. You only have to learn 5 moves.
Like you said, and we've all been saying, Tony Khan, you need a hierarchy, and he gets one, and then we make fun of it.
Because he's sitting back there talking about the Brock match, and it's finally we had a wrestling match. Finally, we got 2 guys telling a story. They weren't outside in the ring the whole time. One of them
was he not watching the same match as we were?
Yeah, those games, man, I would say, like, for me, like, the best ones, I would say, are, like, the ones where they try to get a certain, like, time.
This is my entire IT team right here on screen.